and screw the pin back in. Just snug is all you want to go on this one. Then what you're going to do is take your 1670 O-ring. I always start on the bottom. Pull that around. You want to make sure this gets slid back into its groove. Grab the pick here. And slide it back into the groove. Now you have your spring action of the back cap. So to reinstall the rear lift cap, I take an Allen wrench, set it down inside the groove there to hold the lift cap portion back up. Slide this in place. Take your Allen, make sure everything's lined up, and set it back in. And snug up your screw. Once you got that snug, go ahead and remove the Allen, and you got your lift cap back together. When reinstalling the guide back into the rear lift cap, you just want to put it in there. Clockwise will tighten it up. Take an Allen wrench inside the two barbs, just snug. So just a little twist there. That's all you got to do. So, to explain to you how the Lux bolt system works here, got the three pieces of the bolt. It's going to be kind of tough to see, so just kind of follow along the best that you can. Now first off, you have the first component of the bolt system, which is going to be the front of the firing can here, the holes in the bolt, and these back two O-rings on the guide. What's going to happen is air is going to enter through these holes here in the firing can, through the center of the bolt, because it's allowed to do so, into the inside part of this rear bolt guide, and it's also, because it's going past through these grooves, past the O-ring under this, into the front of the firing can. Now as you shoot your gun, what's going to happen is the bolt's going to come forward. Once it breaks this plane here, what happens is the air is actually shut off. It's not going to fill any more into the firing can or into the bolt guide itself, because the O-ring inside here, or excuse me, under the firing can here, is going to keep the air from actually entering. It's going to get stuck into a pocket, basically between the bolt here and inside the firing can, this chamber basically. Once the bolt comes far enough forward, it's going to break the plane of this front O-ring, which is then going to allow this air to go around, basically up, around, and through, past that O-ring to the front part here, which is then going to vent through the center of your bolt to shoot the ball. Now, once it comes all the way forward, the bolt's going to, of course, return. Once it comes back behind this O-ring, this air supply is shut off, so now it's not going to go down the barrel anymore. It's going to come back farther, of course, until now these holes are lined back up with the holes here, which is going to, again, allow the firing chamber to fill up and the center part of the bolt guide to fill up. When you shoot the gun again, of course, it's going to come forward. Now the air supply to the firing chamber in the center of the bolt guide is shut off. Once it breaks the front plane of this O-ring, it's going to be allowed to have the air go through the center of the bolt to shoot the ball. When it comes back, air supply is shut off going down the barrel. When it gets back to here, it's going to be allowed to refill the bolt guide and the firing chamber. The next part of how your bolt works is going to involve the rear part of the bolt, the sail O-ring here, and the back part of the firing can. Now, so it's not going to involve these front holes, which are going to be the holes that are going to actually charge up the firing can and the center of the bolt guide to store the air that's going to shoot the ball. What's going to happen, and this is all going to be driven by your solenoid, is when you're not shooting your gun, air is going to be going to these front holes here, which is then going to go inside the firing can to push the bolt back. The sail O-ring is actually what that air is hitting. It's going to push the bolt back. When you shoot your gun, what happens is your solenoid is going to switch over, which is then going to vent the air from the front holes here, this front section of the firing chamber, and it's going to redirect air to the back of the back set of holes to now apply air to the back of the sail, which is going to push the bolt forward. Once your dwell time expires, what's going to happen is now the air is going to vent from the back holes, reapply to the front holes to push the bolt back. So every time you shoot your gun, basically air is going to vent from the front, get applied to the back to push the bolt forward. When that dwell time expires, it's going to vent the air from the back and reapply to the front holes here to move the bolt back. So that's how your bolt moves back and forth, and how air is delivered to the ball.